Hello, everyone. All right, I gotta fix this. There's more here that's supposed to be here. More here that's supposed to be here. And less at the same time. Oh, so what is happening, everyone? How are y'all doing tonight? I hope you're all doing well. Awake and well fed. Oh, I guess that's good. I'm surviving. Yeah, had a bit of a long night at work. But getting through it, getting through the rest of the day. Been looking forward to this. Should I have it over here? I don't know. Honestly, I don't need to have... I have to separate windows. We're going back to the old way of doing it. Alright, where's the display capture? There it is. Alright, get rid of that. Window capture 1. Hero Forge Custom Minis. Window capture 2. Untitled document. Ooh. Where is the oh, Jesus Christ, there it is. Alright, so we're only working on one character anyway, so I don't need that whole window. And honestly, I can just put that there like that, if that'll be sufficient. It doesn't need to be huge either. And now this whole thing is just so messed up. Hold on. Transform. Reset. Transform. Hey, there it is. All right, let's clear that down. Get that over. Because, yeah, we don't need this, like, the whole time. Want this mostly. And this can just, honestly, I don't like swapping these, but I guess I'll just swap them. Doesn't really make much of a difference. All right. How's it going, everyone? It's been a while since I did a D&D&Chill. Actually, that's a full-blown lie. I did one not too long ago. But, to be fair, it has been a while since I have done D&D&Chills. What's up, Ethereal Lyle? Ethereal Lyle? I don't know if that's how I pronounce it. All right, what's up, Ethereal? Aguajita told me to watch. Ever run a Warhammer campaign or know of any? Are you talking like Warhammer Rogue Trader, like the Warhammer? Oh, that's right, Hannah. I always forget your your Twitch name. Yo, what up, Hannah's boyfriend? Yeah, are you talking about Rogue Trader? Because I 40K or fantasy. I have never played like proper Warhammer. I have minis I have thought about and like wanted to play, but never actually got into it.
Not that I haven't had the opportunity, but I don't really care much for like building the minis and painting them and stuff. And just like the amount of time and effort that needs put into Warhammer is just not something that I have ever found myself wanting to get into. Just unfortunately. So, but I have almost played in a Rogue Trader campaign, which is like the RPG side of Warhammer. I made a character and everything, but it never really got off the ground just because there was a ton of minutia that the guy who was running it and a lot of the other the guy who was running it and a lot of the other players that were going to be playing into it got like super fixated into like all this stuff before the game ever even got off the ground. And it was like, are we just ever gonna play this? And they're like, no, we got to figure out like we got to figure out like what kind of ship we're gonna have, and we got to do all these details. And I'm like, I've never played Warhammer. I don't know any of these details. Like, just give me a call whenever like I can actually play a role. And it just never became a thing. So yeah, unfortunately not. Again, not opposed to it by any means. Just never really got into it. So, but yeah, so for those of you watching, that was a really weird perspective with my hand getting so close to the camera. I am sitting a little further back than I usually am just because of the mic. But yeah, so to those of you watching, thank you for joining me tonight for a session of D&D&Chill. It's been a while since I've actually done one of these. And last time we were talking about Heroes of the Borderlands, which is the new starter set for D&D. And I was kind of going over some of the details about it and some of the things that I liked. And I do really like that. I had an opportunity this weekend to pick up the physical set. I found out that D&D Beyond just straight up canceled my pre-order for the physical copy. Don't know why. Got an email like a couple days after I did my review, and it was like, hey, unfortunately we had an issue processing your order. And I was like, oh, was like my card, like, was there not enough money on my card? Nope. I had like plenty of money, because I know they do a weird thing. Like D&D Beyond does a really weird thing. I don't know many other companies that do it this way, but the way that they do it is if you pre-order something, you put your card on, and then they check to see if you have the funding then to like secure the pre-order. But they like charge your card for the amount, but then they like refund it. And then when the time comes for you to actually get it, that's when they charge you. And I didn't realize that. Like, I've pre-ordered things through them, like physical things. Like I pre-ordered the whole, 2024 rule revision set. Didn't know that's how they did it until it's like this. And I'm just like, okay, why did my card decline? Don't know. Like I said, had the money on there. But yeah, they canceled it, and it is what it is. I don't care. I'll maybe pick it up later, but yeah, for right now, I mean, I'm not really playing a lot anyway. I wouldn't mind getting the physical set and like sitting down with a couple buddies to actually like just do a physical thing. I just don't have the time for it. So we're watching the Netflix series Delicious in Dungeon. Have you seen it? I have. I actually really like Delicious in Dungeon. I think you have to like, I think you have to like what it is they're going for. When it comes to like the whole, big play into, like what they're doing with the monsters and like the food stuff. Which, hey, if you're just looking for a chill show to watch that is about, You know, it's a high fantasy dungeon crawler. I think it is a really fun video. I think it's a really fun series. And also, I love the way that they portray a lot of D&D tropes in it. I think it is an excellent series, and it deserves all the accolades that it gets. But yeah, so tonight, like I said, tonight's D&D&Chill is going to be a little bit different than anything I've done in the past. And the reason why it's going to be different is because I am kind of starting, not from necessarily scratch on a project, but I'm wanting to start a project. I'm wanting to start a series. God, I hate this. Stop hitting off of my microphone. I'm wanting to start a series that I can publish to YouTube and, like, you know, YouTube Shorts, TikToks, Instagram, whatever. I've had this idea for quite a while and never really, I've done a few things here and there. Oh, geez. Hey, Bezos bucks. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. So I have had this idea for a while of wanting to do the series. One of the things that I love when it comes to D&D is making characters. One of the things that I have found over my time as a DM is I tend to make a lot of characters. And then if one of my players, maybe we're running a one shot or starting a new campaign or something, some of my players wouldn't really know what they wanted to play. And they would come to me and say, like, hey, do you have a character that I could play? And I would gladly be like, oh yeah, here you go. You know, he's for example, the one on screen, King Gizzard, the Blizzard Lizard Wizard. You know, and I would basically say, like, oh yeah, this is King Gizzard. He is a wizard. He's a white dragonborn. You know, he's male, I guess. His background is that he's a noble. You know, he has his crown. He has his ice scepter, but he has, like, frost coming off him because he focuses on ice magic. And, you know, his backstory is that he was, you know, he's like the prince of a kingdom. You know, he eventually became the king, and he was really interested in learning ice magic to connect with his, you know, white dragon ancestors. So he was learning from a mage. Unfortunately, his own innate magic kind of exploded out one day, and he accidentally buried his entire kingdom under, like, feet of snow. It killed the crops, it killed the livestock, it, you know, kind of ruined the kingdom. And so the other nobles of the kingdom banded together to oust him from his throne, and he was sort of just left to wander the world. And his goal was to gain control over his internal magics and to eventually return to his kingdom, make amends, reclaim his throne, and, you know, letting that be that. So it's like, I could just hand this off to somebody. Now, I actually had to look it up, you know, on D&D Beyond. While maybe this isn't like a perfect account, because you can see I have, like, some copies and stuff, but I have about 171 characters that I have made. And honestly, this is like me stopping making characters for like a solid 6 months. Okay. And again, some of them in there are doubled up. You know, some of them are copies, but, like, I have made a fair amount of characters over the years. And the series that I had in mind would be called The Tavern of Many Faces. And it would be kind of presented from the perspective of adventurers going to a tavern, the Tavern of Many Faces, looking for a new adventurer to join their party. And this individual who is actually like the first character that I made for the series, like back whenever I was like first contemplating this, maybe about a year and a half ago. This is Al. He is the tavern keeper of the Tavern of Many Faces. And so, you know, it would kind of be structured in a way where, you know, it would open up to a scene. Let me pull this over. Let me see if I still have. I should still have like the art. Maybe. Oh yeah. Okay. Which one's the PNG, not the PDF? I'm so terrible at labeling my stuff. Yeah, here we go. So this was like one of the pieces of art. I mean, I obviously used an AI generator because you can see like this lantern doesn't really exist. It just kind of is. I know this was like I photoshopped this onto there. And like same with this one, I like added this, which like doesn't make any sense why this would be so bright. I never really liked this one. I just liked the angle that it was at. And now that I think about it, I kind of wish that I had like flipped this one before I put the stuff on it. Do I still have that whole PND? PDN? No. Oh, do I? Maybe I can fix that. Let me throw this up there. Where is it at? What? Why isn't it showing an image? That's really weird. Okay. Odd. Nope, don't want that. Huh, that's really weird that it's not, like, showing anything. Huh. That's really weird that you guys just can't, straight up can't see that. Oh well. I mean, I can definitely still do this to, like, make it seen, because there you go. But yeah, so like I didn't really care much for the angle of that other one, so what is that trying to, oh, that's, yeah, because that's the display capture. So yeah, I kind of want, like, now that I think about it, I'm already, see, this is the problem that I have. I get so in the weeds with stuff and I completely just, that's not even how I should be doing that. What the fuck is wrong with me? Nope. I'd have to redo that whole thing. I'd have to redo that whole text. Yeah, I kind of like this angle, like approaching it from the left. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I just do. Maybe I'll deal with that later. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So, I've had this idea for a while of, you know, the Tavern of Many Faces. It would be a place that adventurers could go to find a new party member if, you know, if they needed it. One of the reasons why I sort of wanted to do this, just like in a conceptual reason, is having a place, like almost like a magical place that can like show up wherever, that if a party member has to like leave the group and we bring somebody else in as a player, how's there a way that we can almost, like, if you had to like brutally shoehorn in somebody joining the party that like fits the bill for exactly what the party is looking for, this could be a place for that. So like I said, the idea I had for this series for a while would be from the perspective of the audience being the adventuring party. And when they approach the tavern, they walk inside and they see our pal Al here. And hey, doesn't that background look familiar? Tee hee hee. But you know, having Al, like, you know, from essentially behind the counter. Oh god, I didn't realize I was gonna do that. You know, having Al from behind the counter just say like, hey, you know, welcome to the, you know, like, hey, adventurers, welcome back to the Tavern of Many Faces. What's that? You're looking for a new party member? A tinkerer, you say? Hell, I think I might just know the one for you. Check over by the forge, or check over by the hearth, or what, you know, what have you. There's a tiefling that might interest your eyes. And so, you know, the party goes over there, you know, and like from the video perspective, it, you know, it would, what was that one website? Oh god, what was it called? Excaladra. Here we go. Yeah, so like, you know, it would kind of be broken up into like 4 main scenes, if you will. The first one, or I wouldn't even say like 4, but like, you know, the first scene would essentially be, you know, the tavern itself, you know, the party's walking up to it, and it sort of like zooms in on that, and then from there it shifts to the inside where you would see, you know, like the bar, maybe a couple stools and stuff in front of it, and then behind the bar you would have Al, and you know, you would kind of like zoom in a little on that, and then it would jump to where you would have this in the background, but it would be like blurred out, like it would kind of like close in almost. And then so you would still have a little bit of that in the background. Oh, that's still way too bright. Oh, shut the hell up, Brand. To ban you. You know, what the hell? Why is it not changing? Okay, is that changing? Are any of these colors changing? There we go. Okay. Yeah, so you know, you'd have the stuff in the background now. And so you would still see like, you know, the general decor and stuff, you know, maybe like a lantern over here, you'd have like the bar in the background. But then you would see Al pop up in the front. Okay, why are we not drawing anymore? There we go. But then you would see like Al pop up in the front right here. And, you know, maybe as his like arms crossed or, you know, whatever. But then you would have a dialogue box that would pop up next to him. And it would be like, you know, hey, adventurers, I heard you're looking for a new party member. Check out the tiefling in the corner if you need an artificer. Like, kind of like a video game. And then it would jump, you know, oh, what the fuck? Don't want that at all. Transparent. What the fuck did I do? There we go. So then you would hear like, you know, footsteps and stuff like that. And then for like, you know, the first character, I actually had 2 other characters that were like designed for this process. There's Alaric the Bard and Arendor the Barbarian. I ended up playing Alaric in a one-shot, and Smith was playing Arendor in the New Age campaign before we kind of scrubbed that. And so because of that, I don't necessarily want to use those characters because they kind of became their own things. So a while back when I was prepping this, I went through and I made a list of characters, one for every class, because that was like a thing. I wanted to have one for every class. And the first one is obviously an artificer, just going alphabetical, of Talia Cinderwrench Vexworth, the Smoldering Spark. You know, her little snippet, she's a female tiefling artificer. She's a guild artisan, part of the Tinkerer's Guild. A basic description: soot-stained horns curl back over auburn hair. Her eyes gleam like molten metal behind round, you know, like steampunky goggles. I don't know why I didn't put it. Wearing a tinkerer's apron and heavy leather gloves. And then her very simple backstory. Maybe not simple, but short. Born into a human mechanist family that rejected her infernal heritage, she built her own family from brass and bolt. Her greatest creation, a sentient mechanical raven named Flicker, was stolen by her former mentor. She's been tracking him down ever since, claiming she doesn't miss the bird, though the truth burns brighter than her forge. And the flavor text for her character: careful around the tiefling with the goggles, she's more likely to fix your problem by exploding it first. Talia's hands are callous from years of at the forge. Her laughter loud enough to rattle tools off a bench. She builds wonders out of scraps. Clockwork birds, dancing lanterns, a crossbow that folds into a violin. But ask her about the raven that once perched on her shoulder, and her smile falters. Some inventions are easier to lose than others. So I put a lot of these together just from like character ideas I've had in the past. And then, as you can tell, as you can maybe tell, I use ChatGPT to sort of like condense everything just to make it a little bit easier to follow. And I did that with every character. So I have a very similar like design for each one that can help me like follow it. So like for Talia, for example, you know, when the players would, you know, walk away from Al, it would, you know, walk over, maybe there's like a table that's, you know, in front of her, and she's, you know, it's a fucking fly. You know, she's, oh, I can't draw with a mouse. She's sitting there, here's her, you know, her horns. Sitting at the table, she has her, you know, her leather apron and what on, her goggles and stuff. And, you know, maybe she has like some little clockworks and things around the table. Maybe there's like a, you know, a forge or like the hearth in the background. And then kind of like the other one, you know, so like from here, as the players would approach, you know, like I said, the innkeeper, you know, Al, he would initially be like, you know, oh yeah, check out the tiefling over in the corner. But then from there, it would move over to Talia, where, you know, she would, you know, like get a little bit of like a snappy, you know, like first word in, essentially, you know, like, if you're here to complain about the smell, take it up with the fireplace. You know, that thing's a bigger fire hazard than I am. And then, you know, and again, have that play out where it's like the same thing, but it's faded. Oh, I could have done this. Hold on. This would have been copy paste, put that there, lower the opacity. That's perfect. You know, and then have her like, you know, have the little have the little dialogue box pop up, and, you know, have her like, you know, here in the corner. Yeah, again, kind of like a video game, you know, how the character, you know, would be presented. And then it's like, you know, oh, if you're here to complain about the smell, take it up with the fireplace. Oh, you're, you know, your adventurers. You don't look like, bounty hunters or debt collectors. That's already a plus. Name's Talia or Cinderwrench, if you really care. I make things that go boom and make other things go boom. And just, like I said, kind of have it like you'd be introducing a character in a video game or something like that. And then once she gets through her thing, it's like, what brings you my way? Oh, looking for someone, that can patch armor, build gadgets, accidentally create, life. And then have that sort of fade out. And then from there, have a little bit of her backstory, narrated by like, an outside source, just have like some general AI generated art or whatever. I can't afford to hire an artist. That's actually why I'm using Hero Forge to make the characters, because this is what I plan on doing, is like using these characters as the models for, the little pop-up. And because I can take this, I can throw this in a photo editor and in paint.net and put a little bit of a white border around the side or whatever to make it, kind of make sense. But then actually get some, like, if I could afford an artist, I would. I just want to say that first. But, AI art is all I can afford. But have it, where it's like, Talia I have a little bit here. It's like Talia Vexworth was born in the smoke-choked forges of the Tinkerers Guild, the only tiefling child amongst humans who measured their worth in what one could build, not who they were. But for Talia, every success came with a shadow. Her hands built marvels, her blood drew whispers. Her family called her a flaw in the design. So, like, right there, have this, be little Talia. She's building some little clockwork toys at a table and stuff, but like, everyone else is, standing behind her all upset and angry, like, oh, you're a little tiefling devil baby. Brr. And then, jump to the next panel where it's like, oh, she was, when she was cast out, she didn't weep, she built. Brass and clockwork became her kin, and her laughter echoed through the rhythm of gears and the hiss of steam. And in time, from their forge came Flicker, a mechanical raven who, with eyes like coals and a will of his own. So, like, have Raven, have the little raven here, and oh, look at that, it's a little bird, eyes of coal. And then, move to the next image, which would be, but the one person she thought she could trust, her mentor, Master Halvin, saw not creation but opportunity. He stole Flicker claiming it as his work. Talia's protests were silenced under guild law, and her name became erased from the annals of invention. So, like, maybe having an image of, Master Halvin where he's like, he's holding this little, bird in his hand, and, like, everyone's like, oh my God, he's getting all this fanfare and stuff. And then you have, little Talia in the corner who's all sad and depressed because, like, that's her little bird. And then, move to the next panel where it's like, now she wanders the world, with soot-stained hands and a heart full of fire, hunting the man who took everything. Each invention, each spark of creation carries a trace of longing for the one friend she forged. And so, like, show her in her, like, current state, her horns and stuff, her goggles, and, she's out there about town and, making life, like, in the background. It's, oh, there's that raven, that she's never forgotten about, and, wants to get Flicker back one day. And then, eventually jump to this panel again, where, Talia is, now that the narration is done, then we jump back to here where, it's her chat box again. And this time, she's like, ugh. My apologies. you know, and maybe she's something like, you know, oh yeah, you got that, yeah, tell you what, I could use some coins, some company, maybe a few extra hands to test out a new prototype or three. You help me track down a certain thief with a bird problem, and I'll make sure your gear hums sweeter than a dwarven forge. And, not that I would necessarily like animate the 3D models, but maybe just like, get like a couple emotions, like like a quizzical look, a happy look, and stuff like that. And then from there, we would jump back to the original scene with Al, the bartender, and this time he's like, "So Cinderwrench, eh? Yeah, be careful with that one. She'll fix your weapons, your armor, and maybe your heart if she doesn't blow them up first. Safe travels, friend. And if you hear of a raven making a, brass crackling noise in the distance, tell her its maker's coming," or something like that. Or, even just like end it off with like, like safe travels, friends, and be careful with those gnomes living up in that mountain. Here they're up to no good. And then from there, you'd hear the stamp of footsteps and whatever, and then it would you'd maybe hear like a door open as we heard in the beginning, and then it would pan out to the Tavern of Many Faces, and then that would like fade away into dark, and it would come across the screen. It's like, till next time, adventurers, blah blah blah, and then like, as every YouTube video does, like, oh yeah, watch this video. I don't know. This has been my plan. This is like, I've had this literal video playing through my head for like 2 years. Honestly, this is the first time I ever like sat down and storyboarded it. But truth be told, there is kind of a reason why right now I actually like had the idea to sort of go through and storyboard this whole thing. And that has to do with what I did over this past weekend. Which, if you didn't know, over this past weekend was the Pittsburgh Gaming Expo. And as with other years, I've had the opportunity to meet some amazing D&D community members there. And last year I got, I've met him a couple times, Bob from Bob World Builder. Wonderful guy. Go check out his channel. What is up, YYH guy? But last year I played in one of Bob's games, and, I sort of ran this idea by him, just like a general, I didn't like obviously outline this, but I sort of gave him this idea of like, I have this YouTube idea where, like I'd make characters and kind of present them in this, fun, creative way. What do you think? And he's like, just do it. He's like, don't put too much thought into it, like make something and get it out there, and, from there, build your process and, go for it. And I'm like, okay. And I never did. I put a lot of stuff together, but like, I overthink things a lot. We're doing good, guy. How are you doing today? And, so this year at PGX, I again had the luxury of seeing and hanging out with Bob again. But there was a panel that went on this year. It was on the second day. It was like earlier in the day, that had, a number of D&D YouTubers on there. Specifically, let me pull them up real fast as I'm trying to remember Trying to remember the order they were sitting in so I can remember who all was there. Oh, who else was there? Who else was there? Who else was there? There were 6 of them. Oh, of course. What the fuck is wrong with me? Yeah, so I'm very sleepy, Phil. I just got home from work not too long ago. Need to stay awake for a little while. Well, hopefully my chaotic craziness tonight can maybe keep you awake for a little longer. But yeah, so yes, there was a panel that was going on that was called, see, it was Saturday in panel room 1. Yes, it was called The Secret of okay, everything just fucked the hell up. It was called The Secret of D&D Creation, hosted by Bob Worldbuilder from 1 to 145. And it included the likes of Deficient Master. And just for everyone's enjoyment, I'm going to put all their channels in the chat here. So there was Deficient Master. There was obviously Bob Worldbuilder, who is a lovely, lovely individual. Him and his wife, Grace, were there once again. There was Ted from Nerd Immersion, the illustrious Theodore the Orange, graced everyone with his presence. Seth Skorkowski, channel of the same name, was there, as well as Baron DeRupp of Dungeon Masterpiece, who he even joked about the fact that he hasn't uploaded a video in like a solid year. But he has fantastic videos on like geopolitics and stuff. And he did a whole panel on including geopolitics in your campaign, and it is fascinating. And then the other was JP Couvert, and they were all there as part of this, you know, the secret of D&D content creation. They were giving different pieces of advice. In fact, Excalidraw was a website that Baron had mentioned, and I got to use it tonight. I really actually wanted to use this because I liked what I saw. But the thing is everyone sort of gave a little bit of great advice. So, for example, Bob had given the advice in the past of just make something, you know, just get out there and make something just so you have something and build from that, you know, let it live, let it breathe, and continue on doing that. Funny enough, I can't remember. God, I'm gonna kick myself because I actually don't know. I meant to ask his first name, but I actually don't know Deficient Master's actual name. See if I can find that real fast. I don't know if it's in here either. Let me see. I know he was a featured guest, but I don't know if they actually put his like real name in there. I don't know. I feel terrible not knowing his actual name. But most of his videos are of his hand anyway, so like, you know, it is what it is. But he had a wonderful piece of advice that kind of resonated with me very heavily. And that was that when he first started his channel about 2 years ago, he spent 6 months learning the skills to actually do what he was doing before he ever put out his first video. But when he put out his first video, he put out 3 videos in quick succession and linked each one to the others. So this way, as people stumbled onto his channel for the first time, it wasn't just one video and that was it, because from his perspective, he's like, you know, sometimes you stumble across somebody's channel and they only have one video and that's all you have to go on, and you maybe subscribe to it in the hopes that they're going to put out more content like that. But, you know, are people really going to jump back in, you know, sometime later to do this, you know, to keep watching it? He's like, so I recommend putting out a couple of them, at maybe, you know, 2 or 3. This way it gives the audience, you know, something to like really mull over and to get excited about, because at that point you will have figured out at least the beginnings of your process to then allow those wheels to keep turning. I mean, another big thing he brought up was have a reason to do this. You know, so many people get into doing YouTube just because, you know, they want to be, you know, like they want to, you know, get a following, they want to get some ad revenue and stuff like that. He's like, you know, whatever it is, you know, let your reason be your reason, but he's like, have a reason to do this thing. And one of the pieces of advice that was like kind of at the end of that panel, I swear to God they recorded the panels. Jesus Christ. Don't need that again. Nope. Yeah, this is just the trailer for this year. I know they said that they were going to be, they were recording it. They were recording that. I don't know if they were like streaming it or something, because this doesn't show them having a Twitter or having like a Twitch. Let me see. Twitch. Yeah, I don't know if they actually have a Twitch. I think they were aiming stream, but fairly certain they didn't know what I'm doing. Well, that's the thing. Like, I know they, I want to say they did have like they had a setup for it. But I don't know if they ever did. Oh my God, I didn't realize they put like a map online. Oh my God, they actually have all like the tables labeled. That's crazy. Okay. Oh! Paul Hubens created. I forgot what some of these developers' names were, and I'm really glad actually I found this sweet. Anyway. But yeah, so the one thing that Baron said, which kind of resonated with me a little bit more, was another guy asked a question. He's like, you know, how do you build a community around the content if you've already been making some content, but you're not doing, you want to like get into YouTube content creation? How do you build a community around that? And Baron was like, stream the process of you making it and make content out of that. And he's like, make content out of you making content. And that stuck with me because, like, in a way, that's what D&D&Chill was what was originally started as. D&D&Chill as a concept started because I was looking over D&D books and was looking at stuff so that I could add it to my D&D campaigns. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go live and see if anybody wants to come in and chat and say, hey, and, you know, like just shoot the shit and whatever. And if they don't, they don't. If they do, great. But like, I'm just going to be here doing my thing. And if folks want to come in and say hi and hang out for a while, cool. I'm going to be listening to some lo-fi. I'm going to be doing my thing. And it did, you know, it did well. You know, I mean, at least, you know, within context. But I was like, as I was starting to think about that, I'm like, you know, I do so much stuff behind the scenes because I don't like other people to see my failures and my struggles and like the hurdles I run into. But it made me stop and think, like, you know, what if I did just stream the process? You know, if I streamed the process, would that actually keep me going at it? I mean, I want to say the answer should be yes. I know from experience and habit that it might be no. Because, you know, we sort of stopped doing, you know, Dungeon 23 a couple weeks in. We sort of stopped doing Calendar's Collection a few months in. Granted, Dungeon 23 was like a really unachievable goal. And Calendar's Collection, I had a baby during that, so life hit me hard. But that kind of brings me to another point. You know, Kiva's a year and a half old. You know, we're kind of in a rhythm. You know, I have a little bit of life and time, you know, that I can actually sit here and do some stuff. So I want to give this a shot. I actually want to put forth a little effort. I want to, you know, see if I can actually make the, you know, this storyboard as janky and, you know, as dog shit as this looks, you know, let this be something that I can do. You know, I gotta collect some arts and stuff, because I need, like, even just looking at this, you know, I need, let's make this a little bit thicker. You know, I need yeah. Here we go. You know, I need, you know, a tavern. God, what the fuck am I doing? Here we go. Why is that? Oh, wow. So I need a tavern exterior shot. I need a barkeep interior shot. It's a random line. And then move these down, give myself some room to work. And then what for, like, you know, each character, because like these would be the same as down here. You know, this would be the tavern interior, this would be the tavern exterior, or the barkeep interior, and same with this. Well, honestly, we can just do that and make life a little easier. And then we need, like, you know, the character, I don't know, wide shot is probably the best term for, like, that. You know, so we need like a character wide shot, and I'm actually gonna put this
over here, because I don't want to like drag myself down with trying to get like 1,001, you know, images. That's like a not something that I have the time nor the care to do. Like, also, again, me being broke as shit, I don't have a lot of money to like hire an artist. If I did, I would get somebody like Sketch Goblin or Rika Rini, who are two of my absolute favorite, you know, D&D artists, and I would get them to create my character art and shit. And yeah, I just don't have that capability. I don't even know how much Rika charges. How much is 40 euros? About $50. Okay. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, if you didn't know who I'm talking about, this is Rika Rini. If you've ever seen her stuff on like Reddit or something, this is oftentimes what you will see. I absolutely love her art style. I think it's like great cartoon, like, you know, I love the look. I love the colors that she uses. I think she puts a lot of detail into them. You know, fantastic work. But like, I would kind of just want like a headshot, essentially, you know, because again, I kind of want to have this like, you know, I don't know how best to describe it, but okay, perfect. Here's an image from Hades. Okay, this is kind of what I'm going for. Okay, this is the look that I'm going for. I want to have a background image that is of the character and it's sort of like faded out, and then you see their art, and then it's like a little dialogue box with their name, and then it's their dialogue in there, and it's, you know, I might get fuck, oh yeah, dude. What's up, Lorenzo? Dude, I legit saw I saw your first message, and I'm like, prove me Wadong. I'm like, is this a bot? And then I realized, no, you just didn't spell it right. What's up, Lorenzo? Thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out. So this is the feel that I want to go for. You know, I want this like dialogue box in the corner. I want some art. So like somebody like Rika, or I guess she goes by Corey. I don't know. Yeah, I guess she goes by Corey now. Oh, she does not say for work stuff. Well, that's cool. Like, I wouldn't want to like drop $1,000, because like, you know, you can see right here, full body is like $70. You know, like, I don't need that, but like 95 euros, what is that? Yeah, $112. Like, I just don't have that kind of money to like, you know, put that in it. But like, if I could do like a headshot, something like this would be great art to just have pop up, you know, in the corner. You know, for a character. Like, I might be able to afford 40 euros, but I also hate to say it, if I'm gonna spend $50 on some art, I might get Sketch Goblin, because I love minimalist art, and Sketch Goblin. Why I need this page fixed up. I'm actually watching the movie, not the newer one with Chris Pine. Dude, I loved the new D&D movie. I think it's a great movie. So okay, yeah. So, you know, here's Sketch Goblin. If you've never seen Sketch Goblin's art, well, I mean, hey, you know, now you have. But the thing is, he has a very, can we zoom in enough to get two people? There we go. He has a very specific style. As you can see, this is
fucking awesome. It is minimalist art. And I love minimalist art. And I would love to have like this kind of art be what like pops up in the corner. And he charges like $50 for you know, a headshot for a portrait. I think this is in New Zealand dollars. Yeah. It's like, what is it? It's like 85, and yeah, it's like $50. So it's like, again, I just don't have $50 to drop on a project like this that I don't know if it's going to be anything. So that is where I'm going to turn to Hero Forge. Because that is something that I can, you know, that I can do. Oh, links? Sure. Hold on, let me hold them back up. I will say, for some reason, Rika or Corey, her thing doesn't work well on a mobile device. I actually tried getting onto it earlier today. Did not work well on a mobile device. But there is Corey and Sketch Goblin. But like I said, so that is why my initial plan was to use Hero Forge. Once I sort of realized what I was getting into, I decided that I was probably gonna use Hero Forge, because using an AI generator, this is the art that I generated of Al. And this is nice, don't get me wrong. I really like this. I even have one where he's just cut out so that it could like pop up. But the problem is that I can't guarantee that I'm going to get this style of art by putting it into an AI generator every time for every different character. So as much as I like this art, I can't guarantee this kind of art, but I can guarantee Hero Forge's art. I can guarantee, you know, like, you know, you walk in and, you know, like he's standing behind the bar. Cause again, I can get like something that looks like a bar to put in front of him, or hell, I can just use the bar that's in, you know, here. Cause I mean, hell, if I rotate him, let's give him a waving pose. There should be preset one. I know I had to make the waving pose the last time, but I thought there was another one. I don't know. I'd have to go through it again, but like, you know, have him over here, because I can capture this in, you know, fairly high resolution. Can download this, and then I can open up my photo editor, pop that in there, and then like, I mean, this, I didn't pick a full one, but you know, I could capture it like this, and I could have that, or again, I can just, you know, find something else that works for me. But yeah, that's kind of the plan, is to get like one or two, like this one, you know, having a different, you know, different look to each one, where he's like, you know, waving them in, and then is like, you know, when it pops up and he's like looking confused or something. It's been a while since I actually looked at Al here. I'm actually crafting a D&D cosplay right now, and one for my stepsister. I'm gonna be a fighter. She chose succubus, even though she's my stepsister. I still charge like $40 to make it. I ain't cheapskate. Hell yeah! If you can get them to pay, do it. So yeah, that is that is kind of where I'm at. Like that's, I have, you know, I have this like, so when it really comes to it, like I said, I already have the tavern exterior. I just plan on using the same one, you know, each time. I need to come up with one, you know, where it's Al at the bar. And then I'm going to have to figure out something where, like, honestly, I might not even, there's like a part of me that wants to say, like, it would be okay to have, like, the difference between, you know, it's like this as the, you know, barkeep interior, and then have the next frame be, you know, this, but I don't know if I can crop this. Can I crop this? Crop image. You know, but have this be like that, and, you know, where, well, yeah, that, I guess this would be fine. I kind of would need him, like, turned slightly to the right, I guess, to, like, make it work. But, like, if this is the frame, and this is the, well, actually, no, because I have exactly what I'm looking for right there. But, like, if this is the scene, you know, and this is what we're looking at, then I could have, you know, I could have him pop up, and this, I don't know if I can blur this image in the background. It doesn't look like it. I don't know what paste styles is because I'm not trying to choose a style. Like, I could, you know, I could have it like fade out a little, and so this way it's in the background, but then, you know, up pops, you know, Chaboy, you know, right here, and it's like, let's get this, choose, I don't know, I just want like a parchment color. That needs to not be that. You know, have this pop up, and, you know, have that right there, and I don't know why it needs to feel like it needs to be up more, because it doesn't feel right. Maybe I just cropped him too much. There we go. That's a little better. Yeah. So, like, have this pop up, and then it's, you know, maybe there's another one right here. Where this would say, like, Al. Barkeep. There needs to be a space there. It looks like his name's like Al Barkeep. Al Barkeepa. That might have to be up there. But then from there, you know, again, I don't have all the dialogue, you know, but it's, I don't know, something like, I just have to be a little bit smaller, I guess. You know, welcome back, adventurers. Glad to see you weathered those nasty little gnomes up in the mountains. I should probably move that over just a hair. There we go. Best, you know, that move. So what brings you back to yeah, so what brings you back to, I don't know, there should be an adjective there. Ugh. Crowded? Crowded doesn't work. I don't like that. The crowded tavern, no.
Oh. I don't know, maybe we'll say, you know, glad to see you weathered those nasty little gnomes up in the mountains. So you've so you've got the look of a crew member missing. Came to find a new set of boots for your not matching order, marching order. And then like a pause. Then an artificer, you say? Well, you're in luck. Check by the hearth. There's a tiefling over there by the name of Cinder Wrench. Oh yeah, I guess that would be wrong. Might just fit the bill. But be careful around her. And then like introduce some of the flavor that's, you know, that I had off to the side before, you know. It's over there. You know, she's more likely to fix your problem by blowing it up first. Yeah, like this is what I imagined. This is like basically everything that I imagined. Oh no, I don't want the background in there now. This is like basically everything I imagined before. You know, but again, like I don't know if having like the stark difference between this AI art in the background and then like obviously, you know, a Hero Forge, you know, character right here. Honestly, this should be the whole way over. Let's be fair. That should be the whole way over. And I should probably adjust some of this. There we go. So it's like, this is kind of where I like stopped the last time. Like I never even honestly got this far, but like, yeah, this is legitimately as far as like a conceptual thing that I've ever done with this project. But like I said, I just don't know how I would want to like stage him. Because I can put Al, like, wherever here. But, like, it doesn't... the most that this is going to do is it's just going to give me, like, this table. Which, don't get me wrong, it's a lovely table. I have my own. Oh, wait, I should be aiming that way. I have my own. I just don't know, like, what else to do. Matching that much likely wouldn't matter to those who'd use it. I know, but see, this is where like I get caught up in the details. You know, it's like obviously like these characters look maybe enough alike, but like they're not. And I also don't want like there's a part of me that's like, oh wait, I don't have my thing up anymore. Like, sorry. You know, these characters look enough alike that I might be able to get away with it. But I just don't like the difference that I'm like trying to portray with it. Unfortunately though,
Hero Forge doesn't have a lot of backgrounds that I can really work with. Like, if I had a tiefling in here, which I don't even think I ever made a tiefling in here. Maybe I have. No. But anyway, like, okay, if I, you know, fine, we use Alric. You know, like if I wanted to introduce Alric, for example, having him here at this table doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, I want the scene that he's in to be like, you know, at a, like, in like sitting down next to a, like a set of books or something. Like, this is the art that I had for Alric. And, you know, like, I have a couple others, and obviously there's like slight difference. Like, this is from his past. This is when we released Crystal Fell. This is him like doing magic. Obviously there's differences in all of them. Like the shape of his hair, the shape of his face, his facial hair, the glasses. This is where I get stuck because, like, I don't have an artist's hand. And I struggle with the idea of, like, not having something that doesn't have, like, a very specific feel to it. Like, a cohesive feel, if you will. And this is where I gotta, like, do it myself. You know? This is where I gotta, like, you know, find some stuff and I'm like, you know, trying to find different things that I can make work. So that's kind of what this series is gonna sort of be for a little while. Like, Tavern Barkeep D&D. Like, this is almost exactly what I want. Like this, but without him there. But even still, like, I'm still stuck with the thought of, like, this doesn't look like, if I put Al in front of this, it wouldn't look right. You know, like, I want to be able to draw. Like, I just want to be able to draw my own. Or just to find something else, like, but unfortunately there's no, like there's plenty of, like, D&D token makers out there. Like, 2 Minute Tabletop is fantastic for, like, its style, but that wouldn't work for me. There is another one, and I cannot for the life of me remember what it is. And it was a way to, like, customize tokens. That's from Reroll. I was about to say, I know that art. Okay, hold on. Custom D&D token maker. No. This is not it. No. No. There isn't anything to go with. You're great. Yeah, but again, it's gonna bother me more than anything. Oh yeah, this obviously not. And like I kind of almost want to take this image, remove character. Oh, that's right. I remember how I did that in the past. I had to like save 2 versions. So like download this and then move them over there and download that. And then download that. Then we open up this. We load both of those into there. We take this and we Control S to get rid of that. And then we take this, copy over from a little more, and we paste that right onto there. And there we go. We have a full 3K image now of that background. We can get super high detail. That's basically what I did to make, the tavern here. Like this has like a very specific style, and I kind of almost wish that I could like find out who created this, to say like to reach out to them and say like, hey, can you create other things? Like, do you have other arts? Because I just don't know. Like, I don't know if that's, if that's even an option. I know at least the portrait, like, they've added a ton of stuff in the past. Like, oh my, I didn't know they added styles. Ooh, what? Hold the fuck on. I didn't know that they did that. Hold on. We're switching back to Al. Okay, so we have the default. What the fuck do we... Winter winds, water, sepia tone. I don't want sepia tone. Whisk neon into the fire. Jesus Christ. Although I could use some of these for like, for like the tiefling, for example. I haven't made Talia, for what it's worth. Anime style? Ooh. See, here's the thing, though. I don't think this is necessarily bad in any way, but arguably, I have enough filters that if I wanted to do that, I could do that on my own. Like if I wanted his thing to be like an oil painting, I have a little more control over that. The thing I always want, like the thing that I have wanted in the past, is just to have a white outline and have the image kind of be flat in a way. Take out some of like the highlights and shadows and stuff. But like, in a way that it doesn't, because like this looks too plasticky to me. That's always the problem that I've had with wanting to use Hero Forge, for example. Yeah, kind of like, just kind of flat, like, yeah, like paper. Like this is just too much. You know, this I never liked, because it's still, it takes out the color. Although, an idea, if we do pencil sketch on top with like a 5-point pencil tip to kind of keep everything there, and then this, yeah, it's not really, it's literally undoing the thing. What if I actually, what if I just, no, because it's not really doing anything. See, that's the thing. That's just taking the blacks. It's just removing color. Like, that just removes all color. Except for black. That's not what I want. Although I do kind of want to see what these all have. So, anime style, I don't know how I feel about that. That, like, it just, yeah, I don't like how jagged that is. Arena? It's just gonna put like a hard spotlight on his shoulder. Oh yeah, it does. Bardic stage. So let me guess, just different lights? Yep, okay. Sort of figured that. Alright, wanted poster. See, this almost does what I want, but it's too harsh. Sketchbook too, like, I want the color back. Interesting. Change the backdrop. The view? What does that do? I forget. I haven't looked at this in so long. Pedestal? Oh, that. Okay. Oh. Old skin glow versus new skin glow. Weird. Default dark. I will say that this does look nicer. This actually is closer to what I wanted versus this. This looks plasticky. This looks like a miniature. This, as it is almost exactly what I want. Now, the clothes still have a bit of a plastic look to them. But... what? Ooh, don't like how harsh that is. Interesting. Cell shading! What? Oh, hold on. Outline. No. Oh my god, that. I mean, his face looks fucked up right now. I just want to admit. His face kind of looks fucked up. All right, let's take away bloom.
It's not really doing a whole lot. Color levels? No, it's just making it darker. Painterly. No, don't like that. Nope. Well, we're going to leave that anyway. So I actually want no background. And I also want no base. I want no ground shadow either. But the reality is that I can actually zoom in on him. I don't like his nose. That nose bugs the shit out of me. Yeah, I don't like that either. Oh, you know what? You know, some games you go play from pixelated 2D or even 3D. Those images you had before seem to have a similar feel, shift in art style, but it still works. So, okay. What was it? Where did I have that? Here. So I understand what you're saying. That, for example, Hades has a character in the background, but the thing is, you never see these characters outside of this art. Okay? Like Hermes, like in example here, you never see Hermes outside of that art. Like, sure, in the game, you see, you know, Zagreus as like a character model, but then you have this art. But this art stays the same in it. And I could understand if like the background was pixelated and stuff like that. But if I am trying to like pass off this character is this character, they need to look the same. Part of the reason why I'm going with Hero Forge overall is because I really like this image of Al in the background. I do. I cannot create him in Hero Forge to look like that because the assets in Hero Forge don't exist. Truth be told, it's going to be one of my biggest hurdles when trying to make any character for, I mean, granted, I'm only making 12 characters, and the 12 characters are probably going to be very different. But even still, like, I want them to match what is there. Now, I might get to the point where, like, I can go back in to, like, Mid-Journey, for example, which I would need to resubscribe to that, which I just don't have the money to do that right now. Like, I'm still subscribed to Hero Forge because I had, like, a gift card for, like, $50 that I was able to just, you know, plug into there. But, like, if I could resubscribe to Hero Forge, I mean, not Hero Forge, Mid-Journey, and, like, take, you know, create the character in here, honestly, I probably could. You know what? Let me, okay, hold on. I gotta think. Okay. So, all right, start creating. Okay. All right. So let me zoom out on this. So this is giving me like full frontal light. But this isn't where he's gonna
be? You know? What if you had an initial meeting of each character from the back instead of the front? So at the point when they turn around to you, then it's Hero Forge. So I kind of want like the scene that is there when the players initially like walk up to the character is them in a setting at the tavern. But I have an idea. I have an idea. Let me load up Alaric. Just because I have seen Alaric as a character in, you know, from AI. But let me do this. I don't like the anime. I want to get rid of those. We're doing no backdrop, but which one were we looking at? No, it wasn't sketch. Oh no, that's right. Okay, hold on. We had default backdrop. Okay, we're gonna do no backdrop. That's right. That's right. We have our own effects. That's what I was looking at. Okay. Cell shading looks so good in like any other situation. All right. So I want straight on direct light. So this is as if there is a light shining right at him, which is giving me all the detail I need. I need to get rid of these. And then under here, let's do no. I do like cell shading, but at the same time, I end up hating it. Although the black outline, I really like. I kind of wish that, like, cell shading wouldn't be so jarring. It's just, it doesn't look right, but I don't know if this is right. Okay. I don't care. I just need to do something. So we're gonna do outline, and we're gonna do bloom, and then we're gonna leave the ambient light on. We're gonna leave the sun like it is. What the fuck are these? Okay. I want to get rid of all of the... I was wondering what that fucking floor was. I don't want anything else on there. We have the no backdrop. We have everything else is exactly as we want it. Okay, so now we're going to capture him. A quality spinny mini GIF. No, I don't have the fucking patience. Okay. We're going to save this as a high res. All right. So we got Alaric portrait. Okay. So now we're going to jump over to Mid-Journey. And I have always used... Here we go. Downloads. Alaric portrait. Start framing. No, what the fuck? I don't want to do...
Switch to image. Thank you. Oh, interesting. Can I use that? Because that is the image of Al as a reference. Omni reference using a oh no, I don't want that. Okay. So okay, so what do we want? Um how do we want to do this? How do we want to do this? I want to say that I actually might still have. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, good. I still have the prompts from before. Okay, I still have the prompts from before. Generate an image of a human lore bard, Alaric Veilwright, sitting at a cozy table in a tavern near a grand bookcase. He's dressed in neutral colored robes, white, gray, and cream, with intricate pink arcane designs reflecting the crystal fell crystal. We don't need to put that. This had a lot more lore than I needed. It's reflecting a pink crystal. He has a gentle smile, looks up from a large tome, eyes warm and inviting. Wearing glasses. Okay. Let's see what we get. Because here's my theory. If I can make the character like this and then use you know, essentially using this as the inspiration to get something similar, I could essentially recreate this with this to get something a little bit closer. Oh, you know why? Because it doesn't have a background. Ugh. What's in his hand? Oh, crystal. Oh, you know why? Because he's fucking standing like a goob. Hold on. Back to the pose. I don't... Okay, let's... Neutral, get this shit out of your hands. All right. The light's off again. No, it's not. It's just wrong. Oh, I need to be a bright white light instead. All right, let's recapture that. You know what? Actually, let me get two. Let me get that background and this background. And the reason for that is because I don't want it to use that same one. Okay.
Because I can always go in and like remove the background again, because I can just scroll back up here and boop. And then I can resave this. And actually, I could just upload both of them. No harm in that. You know, this is the character, blah, 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 blah. All right, let's see what that does. I hope it doesn't like have. Okay. You know, I think one of the problems is like in my own head, I'm like thinking of the other pictures I have of Alaric and not thinking of this Hero Forge mini. But I sort of should. I don't look enough like him. Okay. Let us try. I mean, it did better, but it also didn't because it still has that shitty background. I wonder if I zoom in and I do more of a portrait. Let's go with a vignetted background or something. Or something. That's fine. Just a neutral. I wonder if giving it both of these will actually give it like what it needs, or if I should just do one where it's just the portrait. I don't know. I don't know what's going to turn out better. We will find out though. I still don't like how in every single one he's standing, but it did finally give us a full background.
It's like thumb is fucked up in each one too. That's really funny. Also, there he has 6 fingers. I mean, honestly, with Alaric in question, like some of these aren't bad. Like that's not bad. But from here we could do subtle and strong variations of this image. And these are the strong variations. That fucking pinky is just like chopped off. Honestly, the funny thing is, these actually are like as close as I could imagine getting them. They just legitimately look like Hero Forge. Like, it looks like Hero Forge. I don't necessarily mind that, but
you know, I just find it kind of funny. What the fuck? Animate? Low motion? What the fuck? I didn't know they were doing that now. I haven't touched Midjourney in months. I unsubscribed to it for the longest time. Only just resubscribed now, so I have no clue what they're doing. So I kind of wonder what it would give me with Al. It's like, Al, like, wow, he's obviously not like a character that I'm going to have to like do a ton with. I don't have to like remake him a bunch of times. I do kind of need to get him right like the first time. And like at least this expression is what I would aim for. What did that do? Oh, Jesus Christ. What the fuck is going on in those pictures? Okay. Oh, God. I'd have to redo his facial pose. I forget if I can do, like, crossed arms, if that's, like, a default pose. It's not a default pose. Shit. That's awful. This day, I still hate Hero Forged with their poses. They're just so ridiculous. And it's so hard to, like, match, like, the same pose on different, you know, like, on different parts of the body. Like, I want to move his forearm. So, like, I want that to move, but I also want that to rotate. Because I want it to sort of do the same thing over there. But, like, I mean, the wrist needs to rotate. This looks so uncomfortable. Okay, like, that's not bad. That's not the worst. All right, so for the face though, we do want like more inner peace and happiness. Oh my God, where the fuck's your teeth, bro? Thank you. No, I don't. I want like content. That's fine, right there. That's great. Okay, cool. All right. So we're gonna go back to here. We're gonna add the effect of bloom. Oh yeah, no, we don't want bloom. We do want a little outline. Don't want cell shading. Color levels are fine. Don't want that because that sort of fucks it up. Nope. What the fuck happened to his face? Don't want sharpen. Sharpen brings out way too many details. Okay, and then view, we need to get rid of these. And backdrop, we're going to use that just so we actually have a backdrop. And light. I gotta change the color of that fucking shirt. What is that? Okay. That's better. I mean, granted, I understand why it was like that, because it was leather. I don't know why. I don't know. It just sort of gives it like a fake look almost. It's way too intense. There we go. That's so much better. All right, so let's save this. We'll go back. We'll actually upload. We're going to rerun this. We're actually going to use Al's portrait. Okay. And I want to say I still have the prompt from Al as well. I don't know if I do. Oh, wait. Does this have it? Or maybe I had it in here, actually. I wonder what's in a wonder ball. So long since I looked at any of these. Oh, there he is. Cool. All right, and then this is going to be the starting, no. It's be the image prompt, and this is the image style reference. Okay. Let's see what that, I want to see what these are. That's kind of crazy. All right, that's cool.
It's not bad. Definitely gets it a little bit closer to the look. Hands are still fucked to shit. But I actually think part of that has to do with the fact that the hands look so close in here. I think that plays a big factor in it. I wonder. Oh, I wonder, what's in a wonder bar? Okay, so let me see this. See that? Let's put this owl portrait in here. Because, oh wait. Background none, thank you. Re-download. Indian load. Alright. So if I take this and I just look up D&D tavern scene, tavern keeper, tavern bar. Oh my ass. I want that image, but from that right angle. God damn it. Oh, what is this? Is there a GitHub for it? Nope. 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 Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Maybe this. Maybe this. A stocked bar. A stocked tavern bar with stools. Please sign in. Blah, blah, blah. What the fuck just happened? Man, that thing just took my PC for a ride. Forgot to add the word fantasy. Okay, we need to go back. Great. Oh, there we go. Nope. It's way too fucking bright. God. No, these are all top down. Ow. Itchy, itchy, itchy. Oof. Fantasy bar. Let's see. Now, this will be a little better. Ugh. Ooh. Okay, see, I sort of dig this. Of course it's from Shea Peku. Like that's almost exactly what I want. I just don't really care for the big skeleton in the back. Like the thing is that the sort of ambiance that I can elicit from it is going to determine like what the, you know, this actually looks fine. I hate the watermarks. Wonder how big I can. mean, it's only $5. I kind of want that.
And then I could use that.
Technically, I could use that as like a scene. Oh. Hold the phone. Free with trial. Jesus Christ. That. Oh my God, where the fuck was that? That's not bad. There. No, that was the same. What the fuck? This. I love that. That's... There it is. God damn it. How big is the preview? Of course, it has all the fucking Adobe stock watermarks. Oh. I'm just gonna put a period. The same. I don't know. I just want the same image. I mean, I understand that it takes time to, like, you know, get your generations down and stuff. But, like, fucking charging $70 for that shit is insane. Also, why is it all of a sudden in, like, Japanese or something? Cancel at any time. If you cancel after 14 days, your payment is non-refundable. So wait, free trial. A 30-day free trial. It's an annual plan. $30 a month after the free trial ends. Cancel risk-free before November 5th. Fees apply of half your remaining annual commitment if you cancel after.
If you cancel 14 days after your free trial ends, your service will continue until the end of the month's billing period. So I could sign up for this free trial. Nothing's due today, and I could get this image and then like immediately cancel it. Okay, so I got the image. Yes. Okay, that's really fucking high res. Okay, cool. So I'm not gonna cancel it right now, but fuck, come on, Siri. Hey Siri, remind me in 20 days to cancel my Adobe subscription. Okay, cool, all set. Okay, so I now have that, and we can plop that down. No, that's the whole big ass image. There we go. Okay, so let me take Al here. We can just check him. Okay, so we're gonna need to play with the lighting. That's gonna be a big factor in this. Put that over there. So he sort of has light, like orange light coming down from the top. That's pretty intense. We're gonna add some orange ambiance. Maybe like a darker. I guess we really can't have like darker. Now environment. Oh yeah, like that's good. Burnt warehouse? No. Courtyard. Red hall? No. Also no. I did like that cabin. That sort of does like a similar thing. I sort of like that. Okay, let me save this. And bring this back over. Let's get rid of you. Let's load you in. So, hold on. It doesn't have the same, like, glow.
I guess if you, yeah, I guess that would be about the right height. And then from that, we would need to chop him off at least there. And then we need to sort of take what is on the counter here and put him in front of that, because these are obviously on whatever the fuck those things are. Okay, let's lower the softness. All these characters are meant to be in the tavern at the time the adventurers come seeking for someone to join, but each in a different... I mean, it's more just like... It's more that, like, you know, when the adventurers head there, you know, they're looking for a barbarian, and guess what? They're in luck. There just so happens to be, you know, a barbarian there at the time that they are, you know, looking for a barbarian. I mean, in the creation... Wait, are all these characters meant to be in the tavern at the time the adventurers come seeking for someone to join? Well, like I said, it's that, like, it's not all happening at the same time. Like, arguably, like, these episodes would be, you know, like, you know, different times that the adventures, and honestly maybe even different groups. Like, this isn't necessarily like the idea of who the adventuring party in is kind of superfluous. You know, it's just like, oh, in this moment, you know, the quote unquote party, the audience needed a barbarian, and hey, guess what, there just so happens to be a barbarian here in the tavern that can help you out. Like, one of the initial ideas that I had for this was that at the end of every episode, it was gonna kind of end off where, you know, like, Al's like, you know, all right, well, travelers, you know, safe travels. May the road meet you well. You know, best wishes to you all, blah, blah, blah. All that, you know, all those niceties. And then hearing, like, you know, as like the camera's panning out, you hear, like, you know, the tavern keeper be like, oh, you know, welcome, big guy, you know, ale of grog, or, you know, like, flagon of grog, of course. You know, it's like, you're a big one, you know, no, nobody mess with you. And then, like, the next episode would introduce that character who would be, like, a barbarian. You know, but it's like... I mean, are you aiming to make a different background image for each character, or have...
Again, that is where I do plan on implementing, like, I do plan on implementing some AI generation for those, but like, I want to use this background as like, you know, the style reference. So, because like, obviously I can't, you know, I can't have, like, I'm never going to be able to get it perfect each time. See, this isn't bad. I actually really like this. Ugh. I sort of regret, like, spending the time doing this and, like, not having, you know, this one. But, I mean, I guess, like, he would very likely be standing behind the bar like this. I mean, to that point, like, arguably to that point, I could, you know, if I did want to have it, you know, always at the same table, I could do something like this. You know, like, I could match the lighting to, like, this background. As best, you know, like, you know, with this one, and just have, like, the character here. The problem is like, it never looks like they're actually sitting in the chair. It looks like they're floating in the air above it. And that's always been something that I didn't like about this. And, like, this is the only seat where they sort of line up well. But, like, that's why I was saying before, like, with this one, you know, I could have, like, you know, like, there is a part of me that almost just wants to have, you know, Al standing back here in the corner like this, just, you know, here, oh shit, what size is that? I don't, let's redo that. Yeah, here we go, we gotta get the big one. Yeah, you know, like, because, I mean, I could have it like this, but, like, it just looks, like, obviously, I'm in this tavern all the time anyway. Like, I mean, I know, you know, it doesn't look right. That's actually why, like, I have, like, my camera here the way that I do, because I feel like it looks more right. But, like, if I can make this, like, you know, with the idea that I had before, like, with the way that I sort of outlined it before. Okay, so, like, here, hold on. Okay, so if because, like, arguably, I sort of messed up by giving him the black outline. I probably shouldn't have done that for this, because it doesn't look right. And I sort of regret that. I wonder if I can fix that real quick. Let's get rid of that. Let's recapture him at a high res. Download him real fast. Drag and drop and add a layer. Scale them up the same. Yeah, just a little bit bigger. Right there. You know what? Actually, I think I kind of did it backwards in a way than I should have done. Because instead of erasing, I should be pasting over top. This way I'm not actually erasing shit. And same with this. If I take this and copy it onto there, and take this and copy it onto there, then from this, I can erase. Yeah, see, that's a little better because it doesn't have the black outline. The black outline needs, I want that. It either needs to be black or white. Black would probably be a little bit better. But that'll just be like, nope, let's go back. We can always fix that down there. Okay. Select. Paste. Cool. Okay, got that. Let's go over here. Just dip down just a hair because it doesn't matter. We can always repaste that. Hand is fine. Where's the hand? There it is. Cool. Bit. Eyes are blurry. I had not had anything to drink for a while. Okay, and just to not have that hand overlap. Cool. Okay, you see, well, it might not be perfect. I sort of like this a lot. Okay? I kind of wish that these weren't here. But I don't like how they're there in the background. Okay, you know what? Fuck it. I have an idea. We're going to erase that. We're going to grab this and the clone stamp tool. Sorry, didn't mean to do that. Okay. Yeah, let's... Nope, actually, we still want that. But I need to stay on this layer. Okay. All right. Now what we'll do... That looks better. Now that looks kind of like it's meant to be like on a shelf back there. And if we do the same thing here... Oh, you know what? Because we're on...
Clone stamp. Cool. That's hard to tell down there. Okay. It's really funny. Oh no. Okay. So we're gonna copy that, and then we'll just paste that there. Fuck. You know what? Quick and dirty method. There. Okay. So now that we got to this point, we're kind of where, like, I wanted this to be. You know, the shot sort of, you know, like starts here, zooms in, and then from here we could have you know, like let's lock this in. So we can actually get rid of these 3 layers. And we're just going to leave those as is. But then, like, you know, on top of this, we can have, you know, Al sort of shows up here. And then the background, if we, just for a moment, take all this and we blur the background like that, and then we add something like this, which I haven't actually looked at this yet. We need to do some editing. Make color transparent. No, thank you. What is this color? 72. Okay, 72 all the way through. 72, 72, 72. Okay, so let's get rid of all that. We do not need this little, like, yes, no thing on the bottom. I don't like that that sort of disappears with it. Motherfucker. Another layer. There. All right. And then here we can actually take this and just stretch that over, and same with here. We should be able, it shouldn't look too insane. It does kind of look insane because it has a bit of a shadow. What if we go the other direction? How does that look? It's not as bad. Also, I sort of caught the edge of this over here, which not my intention. Good. Oh, that's so dumb. Oh, shit. Nope, I still want that. There we go. Okay, so that's a little better. And that's kind of where I need that to stop. Actually, that's kind of where I need that to stop. And from here, we can actually copy this, paste that, stretch that. And then should be able to... Honestly, if I just allow it to be that bit of a fade. When there's text over it, it's not going to be nearly as noticeable. Yeah, it's not going to be as noticeable. Okay, so let's take that. We could pop that back into here, and then we could do... Oh, shit. We don't need this. Okay. Bam. And then scale that. All right, actually, let's move Al over a bit so we can move this over a bit. And then in here, let's do that. Let's get our... Go that big. What font would I use for all this? Also, that is way too big. Keeper. I don't want it to be anything super crazy that it's like illegible. I don't also want it to be like obnoxious. Cracked concrete.
Eagle Lake is one of my favorite fonts. The only problem with Eagle Lake is that, like, when you're actually trying to type stuff, it gets a bit obnoxious. I still want it to be like, oh yeah, Mason. Mason Serif Super. I actually really like this font just because it capitalizes everything. It just makes it makes doing like body font terrible because it capitalizes everything. It needs to be something with a serif at least. Like, out of everything I have, it would have to be something with a serif. Oh god, papyrus. Gross. My butt's falling asleep. I'm actually getting tired myself. Probably gonna call it quits here in a little bit. Maybe once I can find a font I'm happy with. Hey, Vermin Vibes. Everybody knows this font if you know the whatchamacallit. First 15. Cause that's the font. Part of me wants to do this. Make it like real video gamey. You know? Like, you know, have it sort of play out where it's like, you know, welcome adventurers. Shit! Why do I like that so much? See, that's an obnoxious ass font. I have a couple fonts like that, though. Yeah, like, here's a good one. Algard. You know, I could just go old school and just do Draconis. You know what I sort of really liked? Not that I usually like it, but it's simple. like, I sort of dig this.
Oh, so sleepy. So sleepy. I don't know what else. What? So, what might he say? You know, like I said before. Welcome back, adventurers. You've the luck of a crew missing a clever mind. Look at the crew. Oh yeah, we gotta do quotes. We do quotes. And like dot dot dot. An artificer. Oh. Luck be with you tonight. Happens to be a tiefling tinkerer. Over by the hearth. Didn't mean to do that. Just be careful. Just be careful. She's got more grease than glamour. One. Just be careful. She's got more grease than glamour. Goes by Cinder Wrench. Might just be a bit of ingenuity that your group needs. Good luck. Look at that. Did he call them all dumb looking? Sure. He might have.
See this? This is exactly what I wanted. Okay? This is this. Okay? This is exactly what I wanted. Because look, the details in the background don't really matter now. It's just noise. But I can go into here. You know, I can't undo all of that. Fuck. Hold on.
Hold on, let me boom boom. Copy. Let's put this in its own window, and then we're gonna the point that we didn't blur the background. There we go. Okay. Oh, wait, you know what? Hold on. Did I fuck that up? Yeah, I did. Okay. Oh, well. I can always redo this. This was not hard. Plus, I don't necessarily want to just, like, do it right there anyway. But I do want to save this background. Alright. Tavern of Many Faces. We're saving this under Al. And this is going to be Al background PDN. Because I want the 2 layers. And we're going to resave this as a PNG as well. And then this is whatever. I'll have to do that another day. We don't need this anymore. We don't need this. I do need this, which is going to be dialogue box. This is just a test, obviously. All right, so here we have Al Tavern Light. Cool. This is already a thing. And then here we have Al Normal Outline. And then I don't actually need to worry about this too much. All right. So I'm actually pretty happy with this right now. And fingers crossed. So with this, I should be able... I'm going to resave this as Tavern Template. I very well may be able to just use this as a template to recreate, like, other things in AI. Not sure if that's the route I'm going to go right now. I don't need to save any of these, but let me just... Sure. Let me just save this as... Al dialogue. Oh, you know what? Fuck, hold on before I do anything. Actually, glad I just thought of this. Britannia Vintage. Cool. Al dialogue. Cool. Now I have an image that actually reminds me what text I used for all of this. See that? That's always what I imagined this as. You know, and like the thing is obviously there's going to be a lot more with this. You know, like basically right now as this is concerned, I mean, I sort of have the tavern exterior. I need to, you know, redo the Tavern of Many Faces at the top. But now I have this. And I essentially have that, but it's just like, and that would also mean that I have this and this, but like, this is going to have to be, like, I'm going to have to do this for every one of the characters, you know, like this image right here, these character wides and the dialogue, like, obviously I need to create a bunch of characters. Like, that's not even a question. I'm glad that I now have his, like, basic image done because I don't have to worry about Al now. But I will have to, like, create, you know, a tiefling, for example, you know, and then there's also, like, you know, because the different characters is Talia Cinderwrench Vexworth,
who's a tiefling artificer. Hrothgar Brimhide, who's a Goliath barbarian. Lyra Dovetail, a halfling bard. Brother Kalen Mirowin, a half-elf cleric. God, I haven't read these in so long. Thalasera Moonglen, who's a wood elf druid. Obviously, fucking fantasy name generator coming into play. Sir Darian Holt, a human fighter. Sori Jin, a human monk. Solon Vey, an Azamar paladin. Kale Thornside, a half-orc ranger. Vespera Quinn, a half-drow rogue. Rin Embervale, a human sorcerer. Eldrick Hollowmare, a human warlock. And lastly, Mirren Vale, a silver dragonborn wizard. So I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of characters to make. Oh. So storyboarding gave a sense of what you're trying to create. Well, I got a lot to do still. Let me close this. Sure. You know what? I'm just gonna save this as like a just gonna do this as our dialogue full temp. All right. I don't need those others. But you know what? You know what? I still got a little bit of time. Let's see. All right. Text. That's huge. Phew. Okay, so now take this. Invert color. Boom. How fucking great does that look? Bam. Nope. All right, but it does still need to be. Here it is. No, I don't want those joining like that. Okay, hold on. Select, cut. Now we are going to. Isn't there a way to merge all? There's a way of doing this, and I'm just being dumb about it. If I hit save and I do it as a PDF or PNG, it'll do it right. Now I can take this and I can make this the background and do it right. God damn it. Okay, well, I'll need to do both of them then. So let me get rid of that. So I can just mess with this. Distort and perspective. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. I never actually messed with this one before. Not a huge fan of it. I guess it's not bad. It's sort of doing what I want. You know what? I'm content. That's a little better because the light's coming down like directly on top of it. Cool. All right, so let's save that. Say that's a PDN. You know what? Hold on. PDN so that I don't forget it in the future. And then we'll save that as a PNG, and we'll just save that as PNG. Now I can close that. So get rid of that. Bring this up. And oh yeah, here's the art that I had for Talia, just so you can kind of see, you know, what we're going to be trying to work towards next time. Really like this art. So that's what we're going to be working towards next time. We got to make Talia's art. We got to do her hero forge. Got a lot to do. But you know what? We got a lot fucking done tonight. And I am happy that I'm one more step towards actually having something done. So thank you everyone who, you know, came by at any point, hung out, you know, I appreciate it all. Hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. I might be again on tomorrow to continue working on this. I might not. I don't know. But I'm excited about this. I'm happy with what I got. You know, I very much want to thank the folks, the different YouTubers that I got to chat with and sort of pick their brains over the weekend. Very appreciative of that, and you know, glad I was able to utilize their advice to kind of propel myself forward. Also, again, not this whatever. I want to thank Bob from Bob World Builder, as he has done every year over the past couple years. PGX, he does a trivia show, or not a show, but a trivia panel. And I this year was able to win myself 2 prizes, very graciously. The first that I won is the set from Keith Amon, which is The Monsters Know What They're Doing. It is the full collection. So it is The Monsters Know What They're Doing, More Monsters Know What They're Doing, and How to Defend Your Lair. I already had a physical copy of The Monsters Know What They're Doing. So I'm going to figure out, maybe I can donate this to, to a local library, or, maybe even my friendly local game store. I can give them this copy, so that, folks that run their games there can maybe, maybe get their hands on this. But I had the digital version of the other 2. I actually picked up Keith's books digitally a long time ago. But I was really happy to get my hands on them in a physical form, because it's nice just to be able to pick up a book and actually read through it. And I know we've talked about we've discussed Keith's books on stream before, a while back in a random D&D&Chill episode. Come on, damn it. I wanted to open this. They're bound by string, which I actually really liked because it made it really easy to get these things home. But now I want to untie it, and it's being frustrating. Come on, there we go. And next knot. It does not. Damn it. All right, hold on. We're gonna force it. There we go. But yeah, if you don't know, for those of you that might not know, what the monsters are doing. So basically, what the fuck? Oh, there's a business card for Keith in here. That's hilarious. That's awesome. So I obviously, I'm not going to worry about pulling it up on there, but essentially the way that this book works is it's organized into different categories of monsters. So like humanoids, NPCs, monstrosities, dragons, giants, undead, aberrations, fiends, fae, celestials, elementals, constructs, oozes, plants, and beasts. And you essentially pick the kind of creature that you are wanting to impose against your party. You know what? It's probably just gonna be just as easy for me to do this.
Maybe I don't have these digitally. Swear to God, I did.
Anyway, um, yeah. So the way that it works is like, let's just say that you want to run your party against, rocks. Okay, we'll say rocks. The giant birds that are like, you know, hundreds of feet wide. So you flip to here, and it says, there aren't too many gargantuan creatures in the monster manual. Ancient dragons go to gargantuan. Aside from that, you got the dragon turtle, the kraken, the purple worm, the Tarrasque, and the rock, a monstrous avian whose name curiously shares an etymology with rook, the chess piece, but not rook, the corvid bird. So, yeah, this terror with a 200-foot wingspan, roughly the size of a Boeing 747, hunts big, slow-moving game, snatching up elk. Snatching up elk, buffalo, or even giants. Even a giant as easily as a hawk or owl would catch a squirrel. It's unaligned and only has bestial intelligence. Its strength and con are extraordinary. Its dexterity is as ordinary as you can get. Rocks are fearless. Aside from their enormous pool of hit points, they have proficiency with the big 3 saving throws: Dex, Con, and Wisdom, plus Charisma. Magic doesn't scare them, and it takes a massive amount of damage to even deter them. From their average 286 hit points, they'll need to be reduced to 99 or fewer to be driven off. Probably the common folks' fear of rocks is far greater than the threat they truly pose, because the average humanoid isn't large enough to make a meal. So if you see one diving towards your trade caravan, chances are it's probably planning to carry off one of your horses, not you. A rock would have to be starving to bother to carry off an adventurer. The rock only has one method of attack. It's talon/beak multi-attack. A successful talon attack grapples and restrains its target, giving it advantage on a following up bite. Real-life birds of prey generally don't try to carry their game off alive and kicking. They strike hard enough to stun it, or they grab it and tear open an artery so it bleeds to death. So while it's entertaining to think of rock flying off with a moaning buffalo in its talons, the truth of the matter is it's going to try and finish off the buffalo first, then fly back to the nest with its still fresh, or even eat it on the spot. A rock does an average of 50 damage in a single round. So as long as the rock holds a living creature in its talon, it continues to attack that creature and only that creature, unless it's attacked itself. Then it pecks back at the attacker with its beak, while still digging its talons into the prey. Once the prey is itself seriously injured, the rock simply flies away with it without regard for opportunity attacks. It has a base flying speed of 120 feet, so there's no way any other creature is likely to catch up with it if it dashes, short of casting Windwalk. So that's like what this whole book is about. It is... it kind of takes the monsters that we would normally just get a base stat block with, like, you know, the attacks and the stats and whatnot. And this says, hey, this monster knows what it's doing. Okay. Hence the name of the book, The Monsters Know What They're Doing. And it gives you a little bit of insight on how the monsters would actually interact in the real world with the particular attacks that it has. So I have the first and the second book, because there was the original book and then the more. If you want, Jesus fucking Christ, Banavator, you dick. So the thing is that you can actually go to Keith Ammon's blog site. I don't have the page pulled up. You'd have to find that link on your own. But you can actually go to Keith Ammon's blog site and find entries for a lot of monsters he doesn't have in the books. So that is a nice thing that he does. Also, the third book that was in that little bundle is How to Defend Your Lair. And this one, if I'm not mistaken, is basically outlining how different like based on the terrains, I want to say is what this one is. See, that's the thing. I never really cared to grab this one, but like now that I have it, I'm interested. I think this one just has more to do with like, hey, you now know that you now know how the monsters function. Now you need to know how like a dungeon would be set up, or like how a grung village might be set up. Because like I said, this one's all about like how the monsters would defend their lairs. Now, in addition to that, like I said before, I won technically 4 prizes, but 2 because these 3 were a bundle. The other thing that I won was this. I know it's going to be hard to see. Let me... Yep, for what it's worth. The No Prep Game Master. So this is actually the 2nd edition of a book I already owned, which is called The No Prep Dungeon Master, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Random Tables. So this is a book by Matt Davids. And if you don't know Matt Davids by name, you have probably seen his work out there, because he has a slew of books out there that are like the random rolling tables, like, you know, random tables, random quests, inns and taverns. And I have every single one of these. 3 of my favorite books right here. Random books of quests. Like, these are fantastic. I didn't realize he actually had a 2nd edition of this book, the No Prep Dungeon, or the No Prep Game Master, which just provides tips and tricks on how to sort of utilize tables more. I mean, let's be fair. The guy makes a whole catalog of tables. So, like, he probably has figured out how to use those in a very effective way and how to run D&D with them. So, I have no clue what this is even about. It is so much bigger than, it's so much bigger than his first one. His first one is, like, fairly small in the hand and only has 77 pages. This one is much bigger in the hand and has like, it's like 100 more pages. So I do plan on reading this one through because I really enjoyed some of the details that he had in here and some of the tips that he had about like not worrying about prep. It's been a while since I read it, so I'll probably reread the first one as well. But yeah, so it's late. It's 2 a.m. I've been going for 3.5 hours. I want to thank everybody who just hung out, came around, you know, what have you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hopefully this Tavern of Many Faces is something that I can continue with. I think tomorrow, if I do plan on working on it, I'll have to just see how tomorrow night is when that time comes. But if I do plan on working on it, I will probably try and work on like a logo that I can use for like the TOMF, the Tavern of Many Faces. Try and get some kind of like logo and font going on. And in addition to that, I want to start working on Talia's art. And at the same time, it's like I want to take some of Deficient Master's advice and like sort of prep a couple episodes so that I have them, ready, so I can put out like 3 episodes at once almost. I mean, eventually I'm going to have to do some, voiceover. I have a friend of mine who I might might get in touch with to do the women in this. Like, you know, I don't necessarily think I do a bad woman's voice, but I might try to coerce my one friend to do the voice for like some of the female characters that I plan on. Just because I don't want it to get super cringy. So, all right, well, thank you everyone. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. I don't know where my music went. I just realized my music's been gone for a while. Huh. That's weird. All right, well, bye everyone.